Today on the grid, it is How Would I Edit Your Photo Day? We've asked viewers to submit a raw or unretouched JPEG image, and I want to take them through their paces from beginning to end, and we're going to see how I would edit them. And that may be sketchy. Anyway, we're going to try it no matter what. No Kuna today. He's out gallivanting. However, we've got some really great prizes. We got some cool stuff to give away. And it's going to be a fine, fine day on the grid. And it all starts in just 23.2 seconds. Let's go.
The grid is brought to you by Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Hey, welcome everybody to a lonely grid. No Kuna today. Now, he was taking a PTO day today, and there was a SpaceX launch at the Cape at dawn. So I have to imagine that's where he is, but I haven't had a chance to talk to him, so I don't know. But you know, he goes gallivanting from time to time. Anyhow, thanks for being patient today. It's a very, very rainy day in Florida, and I'm going to use that as my excuse for being a couple of minutes late to the set. Oh, ouch. All right. Let's see. A couple of things. First off, I don't know if you guys heard the news. Sony has made a bid to buy Tamron. So the lens maker Tamron looks like they're going to be bought by Sony for around, the last thing I read was $1.2 billion. I did not realize Tamron was a billion-dollar company, but good for them. So anyway, wow, they're cashing in. Woo! So, you know, I'm a fan of Tamron lenses. I've had a number of Tamron. In fact, the only third-party lenses I've ever really had are Lens Baby. I have had a couple of Lens Babies. But for, like, traditional lenses is Tamron. And I've loved their stuff. So congratulations to Tamron if that whole thing goes through. Let's see what else is going on. Oh, so I don't know if you know this. There is a... Chicago is very famous for their hot dogs. Like New York's famous for pizza, and well, Chicago's also kind of famous for its own style of pizza. But Chicago is very, very famous for their hot dogs, and there is a chain. Well, there's a restaurant in Chicago called Portillo's that is very, very famous and very neat interior, real cool looking place. And I've been there a couple times. I was there with Vanelli, which makes it even more special. But anyway, went to Portillo's and it was great. Great hot dogs and stuff. Well, anyway, they opened up one in Tampa. I know, it's crazy, but apparently they're opening a lot of them around the country. And I had their Chicago dogs. It's like being in Chicago. Absolutely fantastic. So if you get a chance, go to Portillo's. I know that has nothing to do with photography except for photographers do eat. So there's that. All right, we got some prizes today. What are we giving away? We're going to give away a very weird prize. We're giving away the Platypod Elbow. So this is something you can stick on your platypod or whatever, and it lets you bend stuff around, right? I don't know how else to put it. It lets you attach all kinds of stuff, like a flash or whatever. Anyway, that's it. We're going to give away a Platypod Elbow. We're going to give away a copy of Mr. Kuna's Missing in Absence Night Photography book. Great book, though. People love, 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 love this book. It's a love fest. So go check that out, or you can go buy it on Amazon if you don't win it today. My new iPhone photography book is here. I don't know if it's shipping on Amazon yet. I think it may be. It looks like it is paperback. Yeah, it's shipping. But you might win it today. You might win it, and it is the updated version of my book. This has been my best-selling book for 5 years in a row, my iPhone photography book. Who'd have thunk it? Anyway, it takes like the regular photography stuff that we do with our mirrorlesses and DSLRs and applies it towards using the phone. But there's also all kinds of stuff on how to use the phone and settings you want to know and all that stuff. So that's out, and we have that physical copy here, so we'll ship that to you. We're also going to give you a copy of one of my favorite tools, On1 No Noise. So that's pretty cool. Hey, speaking of that, next week I'm launching a class on my workflow using the on-one stuff. So my workflow starts in Lightroom or Photoshop, but then when I jump to on-one, I take you through what I do first, what I do next, which things I use, which ones I don't. I go take you through the whole thing. So that's, I believe that's coming out next Wednesday or Thursday. So if you're a KelbyOne member, you'll get access to that. All right. Hey, I didn't mention where to go enter to get these prizes. So to win one of the prizes today, go to kel.by/grid prize. kel.b1/ and it takes you to this page right here where you put in your name and all that stuff, and then we can ship you stuff. Or if it's electronic like the AI noise, we just email you. So that's it right there. Boom. Enter to win. And, there you go. Hey, does it ask you to tell us what you want to win, though? Do we have that in there? Scroll down a little bit. Can you scroll down a little on that window? Does it say? Oh, yeah, there it is. What would you like to win? Yeah, it's important to tell us, like if you don't have a platypod, you won't need the elbow. So, you don't want us to send us you're an elbow. You open it and you're looking, what is this for? And I know, nobody knows. Okay, so today is how would I edit your photo day? We asked our viewers to send in a unedited RAW or JPEG image. Now, did that stop people from sending in obviously clearly edited images? It did not. We always get them. People send in ones that they've converted to black and white, and they've edited, and they've done all this stuff, and I'm like, not much I can do with that. So we're going to only work with images that follow the guidelines of the very simple guidelines, unedited. I put it in caps, by the way, on all my social media, in caps. Unedited. Apparently, some folks are like, I'm just sending this edited image in. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. Now, I'm using Camera Raw just because it's easy to open. It's the same as the Lightroom Develop module. Same stuff, same order, mostly the same names. And this is our first photo. And taken on a Canon R6 Mark II. Same, Mark III. Ooh, that's better than I have, the Mark II. Anyway, it's a pretty cool shot. Just looking at it, let me see something. Let me see something. I'm concerned about something. Yeah. So our player isn't in sharp focus. It looks like it focused on the crowd. So that's something we'll have to deal with. The first thing I would say is, well, the player's blending into the background and it's way too wide. So this was taken with a 24:105. I guess that was as close as the photographer could get. So I'm going to crop it. So let's go to the crop tool. That's the first step. And let's crop it in to where the focus is on the player. Maybe right there. And it would be nice if it was straight. So let's hit auto. There we go. And that looks pretty straight. So that which should make for a much more dynamic picture. Yeah, that's a lot better. So let's just go ahead and hit the auto button as a starting place and see where that puts us. Wow, that worked pretty well there. Pretty well. Now, there's a number of things that we could do here. So this shadow in the front, I mean, it's just the way it was, right? But I think you could minimize that shadow so it's not so obvious. Go get the masking tool in Lightroom, get the linear gradient. Drag it over that area right there. So it goes from whatever you decide to transparent. So I would brighten that area just so it's not so, let's open up the shadows too, just so it's not so catching your eye. Let's pull it a little further. Yeah, just so it's not quite so, you're not going to match it easily, but that'll help. Because you can see how dark it was. Well, that's the full before. So, but anyway, we'll hide just this mask so you can see. So, yeah, it was pretty dark, and that makes it less, agitating. Okay, now I'm going to have to leave this and do some Photoshop work here because our subject is soft. I want to blur the background, but let's go hit select subject and just see. I got a bad feeling. Because it's all so close together. Let's do this. Let's go to create mask. Let's go to select subject. Yeah, we got some problems. It didn't select the subject's foot. It didn't select the subject's hand. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Let's not do this select subject. So let's just get rid of mask 2. All right, let's open this. Hear me out. I know this is going to sound stupid, but here's what I think we need to do. Because I want to blur the background, here's what I think we do. We go here, we get one of these selection tools like the quick select tool, go to select subject, but you can ask for a better select subject by clicking on this little right arrow, and instead of device, which means I'm going to just use what's in Photoshop, use the cloud, and the cloud method gives you a more advanced selection. Let's see if it picks up that foot and hand. It might not, but it might too. So let's just choose cloud and click select subject. Let's see what it does with the foot and the hand. Maybe nothing, but it's worth trying. Oh, look at that, guys. It got them both. Come on, that's pretty good. Now that we've got that selected, which I'm still amazed that it did such a good job, is let's do this. Let's put just her up on our own layer. So we're going to press, there's a shortcut to take that selection and put it on its own layer. The shortcut is Command J if you're on Mac or Control J if you're on Windows, and it puts just her on its own layer. That's pretty good. But we know that she's a little out of focus. She's a little to medium out of focus. So rather than just doing unsharp mask, I'm going to go to the filter menu in Photoshop, and I'm going to choose AI Sharpen, which is by Topaz, right? So Topaz. Well, did Adobe buy Topaz? I think so. Anyway, there's AI Sharpen. Let's run that. It takes a minute. Not to take a minute, but it takes some time. And it's very good at reducing blur and stuff. Like if it's a little out of focus, it does this really well. And then what I'll do generally is I'll go back and throw another unsharp mask on top of that. And that'll usually do the trick. So let's go ahead and do this. Give it a sec. And I'm in the studio here. I'm seeing a bunch of weird stuff on screen. I hope you guys aren't seeing that. Are they? They are seeing that. All right. So why are they seeing this weird stuff? Because Dobson came over before we started and messed with my settings. Why were you messing with? Look what you've done. This is Dobson's last day. What's going on there, Wani? All right, so that's a lot sharper. And then I would go and say, let's just see if throwing an unsharp mask on there helps. Yeah, she really needed that. Okay, so now why do we have to do all that? Here's why. Now I'm going to go to the background layer, and I'm going to go filter, and I'll bring up camera raw again. So you would do this in Lightroom if you want. I'm going to go down to lens blur and turn on lens blur because we got to blur that crowd in the background for it to look like a pro shot. So we turned it on and nothing happened. That's because we need to change this focal range slider to put them out of focus. So let's move over to the left with it. There they go. You see them going out of focus? All right, and you might even go up a little with the amount. Move the slider over to, there we go. Oh, this is looking pretty good. Of course, if you look at this photo, you can see her arm's out of focus, the racket's out of focus, her foot is completely out of focus. How do we fix all this? Guys, we already did. That's why when I click OK on the top layer, I'm going to be able to show the top layer, which is the sharp version of her. So we do get the out of focus background without getting the bad stuff. Let's do that. Let's click OK. And you can see her foot's out of focus, but we have that. Look over here on layer 1. Look, boom. So now we got a pretty good shot. And one last thing I would do, let me just merge these two together. Go get the clone stamp tool and get rid of this little bright little area over here. Just it's kind of in the bottom right. There was like a bright area. I might get rid of that one there. But I think we're there. Yeah, it's closer, it's tighter. She's all sharpened. The background's out of focus. You have separation from the background. I mean, you would still, you know, finish it off however you want. I think I'm pretty close right there. And that would be it. So, you know, Bob's your uncle. So that's it. But yeah, that looks nice. Okay, so that's our first one. We are going to take a short pause. When I come back, we're going to look at a bunch of other images. So stick around. We'll be right back here live on the grid.
Hello everybody, this is Nikon Ambassador Hilmar Smith and I'm here at KelbyOne and I just finished recording my latest class on how to run a professional portrait shoot without a big crew. I'm going to be talking about all the things that you need to know. So it's preparation, it's gear choices, it's client direction, it's production flow, it's troubleshooting, how to manage absolutely everything and everything that you need to know to get your photography career going without the need of having many people join you. You can do all of this by yourself. Just follow me and check out my new class at KelbyOne.
Look, if you ever wanted to get into lighting and you're like, I don't know, it seems complicated, it seems hard, have I got a course for you? It's on continuous lighting. And continuous lighting today is phenomenal. The technology has changed, everything's been updated, and continuous lights are so bright, you can do so much with them, and it takes all the fear and all the doubt away. I'm going to take you through the whole thing from beginning to end. You're going to see every single step. And when I'm done with this class, there is no way you will not be able to make beautiful portraits using continuous light on location, anywhere you want. We're using a battery-powered system. It's going to be awesome. You're going to do great with it. And it's exclusively here at KelbyOne.
Hey, we are back, Scott, and oh, it's just empty mic. Anyway, welcome back. Hey, got some shout outs here. Juta is saying hello from Medicine Hat. Stan's here saying hi from Bowie, Maryland? No, MD? What's MD? Is that Maryland? Okay, good. Michael Bookman. Hello, Mike. I know Mike. Hey, Mike saying hi from Albany. Chris Johnson saying hello from Oklahoma. Natalie is saying hi from Ottawa. Teresa is saying hi from Summerfield, Florida. Jim saying hi from Maplewood, Montana. I don't know, obviously, my two-letter abbreviation, state abbreviations. Rita says, hello from Belgium. Ooh, I will be in Belgium, Rita. I'm doing a workshop there in September, late September. Let's see. Marty says hi from Buffalo. Jenny says hi from Scotland. Daryl says hi from Fisher, Texas. Lupus says hi from Good Morning, Scott, and all from Canada. Lupus? All right, Valerie says hi from Niagara Falls area, And Mebo Photo says, hello from T&T in the Caribbean. That's Trinidad and Tobago. So Trinidad and Tobago. All right, well, welcome. Glad to have you guys here from all over. So thanks very much for watching. Let's take a look at our next image. Cool image. I like it. And my first thought is I'm going black and white. I'm going to blow out that sky and go black and white. So let's go over here to this little icon right here. You have it in Lightroom as well. It works the same way, looks the same way. Click on it and go to the black and whites, so go to B&W, where there are 17 different black and white conversions, and pick the one you like the best. They're all a little different. I'm just hovering my cursor over them. Well, I like maybe number 10. Let's go with number 10. All right, now we can go back here. So what would I do? Let's hit the auto button, see what that does as a starting place. That's not terrible, but I want to blow out that sky. So instead of pulling back the highlights to show the sky, because the sky's kind of meh, so I'm going to go all the way to white and just go with the blowout look. So that is a very popular technique, by the way. Let's go and add a lot of contrast. So let's pump up the contrast. Let's lower the blacks to add more contrast. Oh, it's looking pretty good. Now, I will give you an editing tip. If what you're looking at has a lot of water, a lot of glass, or a lot of metal, clarity makes it shiny. So go to clarity down here and watch what clarity does. Watch how it makes it shiny, right? Shiny. And I love that. So let's add a lot of clarity. And gosh, I think we might be done. I mean, you would sharpen it to death, right? I'd sharpen it a bunch, but outside of that, here's before, here's after. Yeah, I mean, it's a particular style of black and white conversion, so it may not be your favorite. If it's not your favorite, let's do this. Let's just for fun, let's redo it. Let's start over from scratch, and we can do it in color and all that. I would still hit the auto button, but I would go mask the sky down. So so this is option number 2. Bring some detail back to the sky by lowering the highlights all the way, and maybe bringing some contrast to the sky, maybe even lower the, make it a little more dramatic. And then you could open up the shadows a little bit in the buildings, whites, and I would still go add some clarity because it is metallic. I don't like this one nearly as well. It's not bad. There's the beginning and there's the end, but it's not how I would do it. So I would have gone the other method, but just in case you were wondering for that one. Oh, Philip says that's the PPG building in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's a cool building. Thank you very much, Philip. All right, so that's how I would do that. I would do that in that way. All right, let me grab another image here. How about this one? All right, nice image. I like the image a lot. I like the composition, and I like the location. I like all the photographic stuff is happening. All right, in Lightroom or in Camera Raw, whichever you prefer, let's hit auto. That should help a bunch. Yeah, look what that did, just hitting auto for the sky. But I think the challenge here is the sky and the mountains a little overlit as well. It's just a little punchy. So, it's not much. I'm looking at 2 different monitors. On my monitor here, let me make sure my brightness is up enough. Oh, now it is. Okay. So I would go to the sky and let's lower the exposure. That will usually bring your sky back enough, or lower the highlights as well. And you want to make that sky really interesting. You got a beautiful rainbow in there and something like that. Now, I want to accentuate, that's the word I'm looking for. I want to accentuate the rocks in the foreground. So I'm going to hit Create Mask. We're going to use another linear gradient, and I'm going to go just in the rocks right here. And I'm going to add contrast to them and I'm going to pump up the whites, but I'm really going to go down here to the effects and add clarity just to the water. Remember, it makes water shiny and a little bit of texture too. Really make those rocks lead you into the thing. And then the other thing I would do, I think I would just go, let me see what select subject does. I wanted to select the mountain. Let's see if it does. Select subject did not do anything whatsoever. So then go try select objects, and then you can drag a cursor over the top of the mountain and say select just that. Yeah, perfect. That is such an underrated tool, crazy underrated. All right, and then let's go here to and lower the highlights on that, maybe even lower the exposure just a little bit, just a tad, because I just want it to, you know, look good. And then the other thing, maybe for the whole image, we open up the shadows a little bit on those trees, and then add a vignette at the very end. Just darken the edges all the way around. I think that's looking pretty nice. It's a pretty simple edit, I agree. And there's your side by side, but you know, we only spent like a minute and a half on it, so that's not too bad. Yeah, and the things I would point out are how nice and sharp and crisp the rocks are in the foreground. I love the way this photographer composed this photo, and the water looks great, and it's nice and still and all that stuff. And there's a lot more to the sky than meets the eye. And we're not working with a raw image, we're working with a JPEG. Even though it says raw in the name, it is a JPEG image. That's not bad. I think that's all right. James has a question. He says, when should curves be used for adjustments? To be honest with you, I used to teach curves. I did classes on curves and stuff. I don't really use curves hardly at all anymore. I just don't really feel like I need it. There's people that learned curves a long time ago and they're stuck on them and they love them, and that's fine. But I don't use them. Eric doesn't use them. Most of my friends that are, you know, photo editing people don't use curves anymore. They can be great in circumstances, but I mean, I couldn't tell you need to learn curves. Sorry. Let's say, Scott, when do you use the adaptive color or adaptive black and white in lieu of hitting auto? Okay, that's a great question. That's from Philip Columbus 3054. So adaptive color is an AI version of, it's another option. Auto is AI based. Auto analyzes the photo and tries to make a good choice. Adaptive color does the same thing. It's a newer model. And you choose adaptive color. I can't show you on this one because it actually is a JPEG. It only works on raw images. So here's what it is. There are two different ones. Adaptive color is different than auto. Auto just does the toning, but it really doesn't do the color as well. Adaptive does the color. Except for I don't think adaptive looks as good most of the time. Most of the time, I would say auto still looks better. But here's what you can do. Try both and see which one looks better for the particular photo you're working on. Because there are times where I'll do auto and I'm like, that's not that great. Let's undo it and I'll try adaptive color instead. And adaptive color looks better. I would say it's 80% auto, 20% maybe adaptive color, but that's what they are. They're two different ways. One fixes the tone and the color, and one just fixes the tone. Auto just fixes tone. Adaptive color, it's right in the name, same thing with the black and white. It does the tone, but it doesn't do the color, but it does the black and white conversion. Anyway, long story short, that's where we are. Okay, that was a good image. Let's move on. And if I find a raw image, Philip, I'll show you the difference. I'm sure I will find. There's got plenty of raw. People sent in some raw images, so no worries there. Let's try this one. Oh, this is a nice image, right? And is it raw? It is. So here's auto. So we'll do it together. Here we go. That's pretty good. Let's turn it off. And then let's try adaptive color. Adaptive color just kind of made it look darker. But can I tell you, there is one big advantage to adaptive color. Are you ready? All right, we're gonna step aside from editing this image and do a little lesson. The lesson is this. So watch when I choose, let me go back to the default of Adobe Color. Watch what happens when I hit auto, watch. It moved the sliders to create this look. And in this case, I think you would probably agree auto looks better. But anyway, notice how the sliders are moved. Let's undo it. And they're all set back to 0. Now I'm going to choose this other AI version, Adaptive Color. Watch the sliders. What? They did not move. They did not move. So what happens is you do this and all of your sliders are at 0. So you can now add on top of that. Plus the advantage of adaptive color is something you don't get with auto, which is this amount. So you can increase the amount or decrease the amount of intensity of the AI fix. So there are some advantages to adaptive color. It's just, I'm not that crazy generally about how adaptive, I'm clicking those buttons for a starting place. If I click auto, I just want, do the heavy lifting for me, then I'll come in and tweak it. Adaptive color, I feel like you have to do more heavy tweaking. Anyway, that's just me. James says, I never knew when to use curves, thanks. Yeah, you can probably bypass that, It's not bad to know, but, I don't use it. So that answers Philip's questions. Meta, hi Meta. Meta says, what are your thoughts about the HDR next to the black and white button? When and how do you use it? Med, I don't use it at all. The reason I don't use it is because you have to have an HDR monitor to be able to edit it accurately, and the people looking at your image have to have an HDR monitor or they don't see it the way that you see it. Until everybody has an HDR monitor, I'm just sidestepping that. And honestly, I don't know many people that are using it because of that limitation. It was kind of like when HD TV came out and everybody was still using standard, like you had to have an HD TV to enjoy it. Well, you have to have an HD monitor to enjoy the HD look. So, and a bunch of people, monitors, they're not HD. I have 2 beautiful Apple Studio displays at home in my studio. They are not HD. It's weird, I know. We're gonna take a short break. We're gonna look at this image that we just pulled up here in a minute. We got a good one here, and we'll take a look at that in just a minute, so stick around.
My name is Sapna Reddy. I'm a nature and landscape photographer, and I'm very excited to share my very first Kelby class with you. This class is focused on shooting waterfalls. We will be covering the gear that we need to use, including different kinds of filters, shooting conditions that are ideal for waterfall photography, exposure bracketing, focus bracketing, as well as achieving the correct shutter speed for modulating the texture of the waterfall, which will make it a truly compelling image. This is a comprehensive class which will cover every step of shooting waterfalls, and at the end of it, you will be an expert. So come join me on my latest class at KelbyOne.com.
Hey guys, Frank Dorhoff here. Welcome in our studio in the Netherlands and welcome to a new class on KelbyOne. Do you ever wonder, how can we get more creative with our photography? Are you a little bit afraid when you look at those websites and you can see all those props and they are pretty expensive and you don't know what to buy? Why not start with the stuff that you already have? Why not get some, let's say, emergency blankets? Or maybe get a torch. If the light is too bright or too large, use a little bit of piece of cardboard. You will find out that in this class, you will look at your photography equipment in a totally different way. There are no more excuses. I don't have expensive gear. I don't have expensive backdrops. After this class, you will make the best of even an emergency blanket. Join me on this new class on KelbyOne to create great images with cheap materials that you can find in and around your house. And you probably already have a load of them that I'm going to show you in this class. See you online.
Hey, we are back. I just want to give you a heads up. It is absolutely storming here in Florida. I mean, we can hear it, the thunder and the roof and the rain and everything. It is always possible that we'd have a minor power outage. So if all of a sudden we go off the air, we'll give us a minute to get it back up and the lights to come back on and everything, and then we'll continue. It's a possibility. It happens. Comment from James. James says, I saw Bryan Adams and Pat Benatar last night. Oh my gosh, I've seen them both. The first concert, my wife, we were dating. We weren't, married yet. We were dating, and I took her to her first concert, and it was Bryan Adams at the Lakeland Civic Center. And Pat Benatar we saw at Ruth Eckerd Hall, and they were both terrific shows. He said, some great guitarists. I thought that could have been Scott. You clearly haven't heard me play guitar. So Pat Benatar's guitar player is her husband, Neil Girardi, and he is an unbelievable guitar player that probably doesn't get the respect that he deserves. I don't know who Bryan Adams' current guitar player is, but you can bet they're pretty good. So yeah, now, could I have played keyboards with Pat Benatar or Bryan Adams? Yes. Could I have played drums with them? Absolutely. Guitar? They got some pretty good guitar players. That's next level stuff. I said, thanks for putting down your guitar and picking up the camera. Who would have taught us photography if you were on stage? Well, I'm sure somebody would have done it. Craig says, do you ever use your 10 to 20 or just your iPhone? I've taken my 10 to 20 on 2 trips and I've used it like once. Yeah, I'm not using it as much as I thought for as much as I spent on that stinking lens. It's not a cheap lens. Hey, Susie says, I feel better because I do not like the results from Adaptive Color. I know. It's funny. That's come out years after Auto, and I was expecting it to be better. And most of the time it's not, so I'm with you, Susie. All right, let's take a look at the image that we were looking at here, and thanks for your comments, Craig and James and Susie. All right, so I would hit Auto here. We're not going to, hold on. It doesn't want you to do both. So I'm going to go back to here. I would probably actually, if you want to goose it and make it a little better, most of the time switching your raw profile to Adobe Landscape gives you a better look. Watch when I choose Landscape. I didn't do a big deal on this one, of course. Let's see. Here's before. And you can see a little in the birds themselves. But usually Adobe Landscape will give you a better spot, and then you hit Auto. And this doesn't look bad. This is a nice photo. I would say this. Number one, you could certainly crop closer. So, and this whole thing is kind of, distracting. So I would come in more like this. Maybe even a little tighter because you've got the birds doing something interesting. Like maybe somewhere in here to get us a lot closer to our subject. And then I don't know about this spider web. Now, I'm not a fan of spider webs. Hey, can I just interrupt for a second? And this is just a note for the control room. I can see all kinds of weird movement on my screen. And do you guys see it in the background? It's all shifting. You guys seeing this? Anybody? Is it just me? Juan, are you seeing this? Yeah, okay, something's funky. I don't think we're going to get it fixed this show, but I want to let you know I see it too, and it's driving me as nuts. All right, back to our story. I don't know if I would keep that spider web. If you feel like you need to keep the spider web and you're like, oh, I like this spider web, because, sometimes I say this, that was my favorite part. I would just remove this line then here. This little single outlier of a web, go get the eraser tool and just go get rid of that one line. That's certainly not adding to the photo. So give it a sec to get rid of that. Ay. Let's try it again. That's better. Yeah, for some reason it was like, oh, I can't do it. There we go. I think that would be better. And then, how's the sharpness? The sharpness is pretty good, but it could be sharper. So I would come out and either use an unsharp mask or go ahead and use the AI Sharpen. Now, the AI Sharpen uses more credits. So I think it uses like, I'm not sure. It should say right on there. Adobe, come on. It should say right on there, this uses 10 credits. I think it's 10 credits. It might be 20. I don't know because it doesn't tell me. But you are using your monthly allotment of credits when you use that AI Sharpen. Oh, okay. So you guys are saying you don't see all the awful stuff I'm seeing on screen here. That's good. Woo! Because I mean, my whole screen is flickering. So it's like the background's kind of oozing. It's just going to, like it's just kind of moving the whole time. So, all right, if you guys aren't seeing it, then maybe it's this crazy monitor. Our monitor in the studio here, it's nice big, but it's not great. All right, so that added sharpening. Let me zoom in and see if we can see what the effects of the sharpening are. Yeah, it did it pretty good, but I would say this. You don't really want to sharpen an out of focus background. So what I should have done was hit select subject first, and it would have gotten the tree branch and the both birds, and then do the sharpening. So that was on me. But otherwise, last thing I would do to focus the attention on the birds is, as I've done it to every photo today, go to effects, and I would add a little bit of a vignette on the edges. Just a little bit like that. And you can see the difference. Here's before and after. It's a little bit, but it does make a difference. But that was an easy edit and a very nice picture by the photographer. All right, let's move on. Let's see what else we got. Ooh, how about this one? It's kind of a cool shot. All right, and the first thing I do when I look at an image is, what do I wish were different? It looks like the plane is not super sharp, and the plane is blue. And I think the plane is not blue. I think the plane is gray. So, but you have a little blue in the sky, so I don't want to kill all the blue in the photo. How about we do this? Let's select the plane. So let's go select subject and hope it gets the plane. All right, got the plane. So we're going to do this. I would make it, I would open up the shadows so you can see a little more detail of the plane, and I would make it brighter. Got to be careful so it doesn't look funky. Add some contrast. Maybe add some whites. All right, we're getting close. I'm not crazy about my selection, but I would get rid of the blues. So just go and desaturate. It's gray plane. We can just kind of get rid of the blue like that, but it really needs to be sharpened. Like it needs some serious sharpening, like serious sharpening. So that's all okay right there. And you can decide what you want to do with this background. You could say select background. And you could either lower the opacity a little to make it the bluer blue, but go down to the color and throw some blue in the sky. Oh, this is looking horrendous. Well, yeah, that was all bad. Everything I just did. Undo, undo. Don't touch the sky. It's already... well, you could maybe just add a little blue. Don't darken it, though. That's better. Just add the blue and don't add the darkening because that's not good. Hey, do we ever try just overall auto and see what that does? Well, auto, I think, makes it all... Oh, I'm creating a disaster here. God, this is terrible. I don't like the mask it did on the vapors coming off the jet. That's not good. Let's do this. Let's start over. This is terrible. All right, so here is the uncropped. Wait a minute. That's not the uncropped. Let's go to... there we go, reset to default. Okay, let's just start over. Step 1, let's hit auto. Okay, that's not bad. Step 2, let's work on the plane. But I'm worried about working on the plane now because, let's go to Adobe Landscape. So I'm worried about that. That plane's very, very blue. But if I take out the blues, well, there's not much blue left in the sky at this point. In that case, we could just go to the color mixer, go to the saturation tab, click and say desaturate that plane. But then we still need to go and select the plane. So let's go select subject. And we need to add some contrast and some whites. And I think dehaze. Does it look hazy to you? It looks hazy to me. Oh, that helps. Woo! All right. I was getting worried there. Let's put some dehaze and some clarity because it's metal. And then let's get rid of the blue again because it's all blued up. So let's lower the saturation. There we go. I'm starting to miss the blue. All right, let's try this. I don't know if this is going to work. Let's go to the select objects and see if I can select the cockpit. Oh, okay, it worked. And open up the shadows a little in there so you can see a little more what's going on in there. And then we have to sharpen the living daylights out of this thing. And I would do the AI sharpen and then throw an unsharp mask on top of that. Now, what is this? This tells you it's a partner or something. It says it's a partner model. Doesn't tell you how much it is. So I have no idea how much I'm spending. But I have 4,000 credits a month, so it's not like, you know. The plan I'm on, I get 4,000 credits. If this uses 10, well, you know, I got more credits left. And the month's almost over. Let's see what this the sharpening does, because this thing needs to be sharpened. And I'm kind of okay with the white background. It kind of looks interesting. I wonder what sky replacement would do here. I don't think it would do well because of all the vapors coming off the jet. Ooh, I think that did pretty well. It introduced a little bit of noise, but at reasonable size, I think it looks pretty good. But if you're worried about the noise, we could just run a noise on it. Let's just see, just for fun. This is probably going to be a disaster. So I would just stop right there. But let's go and see sky replacement just for fun. Well, that wouldn't be the sky we would use, is it? But it didn't come out as badly as I thought, but it's not great. Let's go down here and see if we get a lighter sky. We need something kind of lighter. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, something a little lighter. That might help. That worked out better than I thought. You lost a little of the spray back here, but I think that's okay. It's not bad. I would not say it's my best edit. It still looks a little washed out to me, I think is why. I think the plane still looks a little washed to me. It still looks like it needs more contrast or clarity. Did I ever put clarity on it? I don't know if I did. Let's try it real quick and say select subject. Let's go masking, select subject, and let's just add clarity because it looks like it really needs some oomph. There we go. Well, that's making the noise more prominent. It looks good on the plane, but in the vapors, it's not. Sharon's asking, do your credits carry over? Sharon, sadly, they do not. They end at the end of the month and recharge every time. So if you had 2,000, 3,000 credits you didn't use, they vanish into the vapors. So I know, I'm not happy about it either. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we have a couple more images to look, and we got prizes to give away and all kinds of stuff. So stick around. We'll be back in just a minute. By the way, today's jib work is courtesy of Juan, not an intern, not a contractor, and certainly not Dobson. This is...
Okay, landscape photographers, wildlife photographers, all you guys, travel photographers. I've had so many of you come up to me and go, you know what, I stink at taking portraits. I'm not any good at them. I've never taken a good portrait. I'm not a portrait guy. Just not me. I'm not a portrait gal. Nope, not me. You know what? You're probably not until you watch this course. I'm gonna set you up for success. We're gonna stack the deck, and all of a sudden, the clouds are gonna part. You're gonna take your first portrait, following everything I say in this class. You're gonna look in the back of your camera and you're gonna go, holy cow, I can do this. You're gonna become a portrait photographer when you do this, because you're gonna fall in love with the whole process, because it's easy and simple. There's steps that people are leaving out, and I'm putting them in. You're gonna get all of them in my brand new course. It's called Taking Your First Portrait and Knocking It Out of the Park, and it's exclusively here at KelbyOne.
Hello, my name is John Dukes, and I want to invite you to watch my KelbyOne class, Blue Hour Mastery, how to create dynamic cityscape photography. You're going to create photos that are going to impress everyone you show. People are going to get that wow effect. We're going to learn how to scout the location, what Blue Hour is, all the different levels of twilight that you could shoot your photo in, camera settings. We're going to talk about gear. We're going to talk about how to take that photo from being a snapshot to a gorgeous cityscape image that you're going to want to hang up on your wall. So come join me at KelbyOne.com. We're going to have a lot of fun.
I'm Rick Salmon, and I'm really excited to tell you about my latest KelbyOne class. I've teamed with Chicago-based meteorologist Mike Kaplan. Why, Mike? Because great photography isn't about perfect weather. It's about understanding the weather. Mike, known by his co-workers as the Professor for his dedication to weather and science, and I kick things off by showing you why weather matters. Then we teach you how to read the sky, so you can anticipate those dramatic moments, from rainbows to auroras, before they happen. And together, Mike and I show you how to use weather conditions to create stronger and more compelling images. You'll learn how to work with fog, storms, and clouds. We also cover gear and accessories that help you capture those epic shots. And finally, we show you how to enhance your images in Photoshop and Lightroom, bringing your vision to life. So my friends, I really hope you can join us for this awesome class only on KelbyOne.
All right, two things. Number one, Rick Salmon's a hell of a photographer, isn't he? I mean, Rick's got some amazing pictures there. All right, that's number one. Number two is, hey, I hope you will go check out that class. If you're thinking about maybe shooting your first portrait or something, that class that I did it on location, and I go through some of the very most important things. If you watch that class and your first portrait isn't great, you were not paying attention. I set you up for success like you can't believe. Here's an interesting thing. You do not have to be a KelbyOne member to watch that class. You could just go buy that class. I think they're $39, which is cheap. You can go buy that class, watch it, and watch it as many times as you want. So I think a lot of people think I have to join. Would love to have you join. It's a value, an incredible value to join. By the way, this has been our best month of the year for new KelbyOne members. So if you've ever been thinking of joining, now would be the right time to do that. So anyway, that's cool. Also, we just announced the Photoshop World Conference, which is coming up it's coming up soon. I don't know the dates, but I want to say it's September something. But it is our biggest conference of the year. It's usually our most highly attended conference of the year. It's 3 days. It's not a 2-day. It's a 3-day conference. And instead of looking at Photoshop World, let's look at the On1 Learning Center. That'll be fun. Go to photoshopworld.com. and you can sign up for it now and save a bunch. If you sign up early, you save a ton of money. There's people that wait till the last minute and they spend a ton of money. You don't have to be that. You can save the money. And do not show photoshopworld.com no matter what you do in the control room. Don't show it. Just keep showing me. Right here. Maybe we should show the On1 Learning Center again. Maybe we should just show homedepot.com. Granger. harborfreight.com. No? All right, let's move on. Let's look at some more images. Let's see what we got here. We got a plethora of images. Man, this one's going to be hard, but okay. Oh, hold on. Let me reset it 1 second. Hold on. Don't move, don't breathe, don't make a sound. I gotta do stuff. No, I think that's it. Hang on. Let me just, what if I go to, no, that's it. All right. So here's our image. And the big thing here is this thing's got a big perspective problem. Well, there's a couple of things. Let's just talk about what they are. It's crooked. It's got a super perspective problem. And I tell people this a lot when they're photographing. If you're photographing something that is symmetrical, like this building, you need to make sure that you are standing dead in the center. Like am I lined up? You gotta be like right on the middle. You really gotta take your time and go, is this the middle? Usually you can look on the floor or the tiles or something and try to line up right in the middle. And that's the problem here. So the second problem is the windows are completely blown out. You got beautiful stained glass and you really can't see it. Now the stained glass thing is usually easy enough to fix. Go to here and drop the highlights. That's not going to be enough, but ooh, that did help. It did help. Look, brought back a little of the detail, but you think a little bit more somewhere in there. At least you can see there's some detail in there. They are stained glass windows, but we got a perspective problem. Let's see if it can fix it for us. Let's go to auto. And so you would be in the transform panel in Lightroom and hit auto, the A button. Well, that helped it from leaning back, but I don't know if you need to lean back quite that far for a what you call it, travel style image. Like if you were an architectural photographer, then this would be proper. But I think that it went a little too far. I would let it lean back a little bit, like maybe there. And so here's where it was, and here's where it is. So it did fix it to some great extent, but it's not quite there. Let's open it, and we're going to have to fix this in Photoshop. I would duplicate the layers just so we can see a before and after. But first, let's mark where the center of this image is. The center of this image is here. So the problem is that's kind of where this almond shape thing here, that should be in the center over here. So you're going to have to somehow move that over. So, well, first, this side is leaning down. Look at the roof. It's leaning. So we can fix that. But that's not going to fix our other problem, which is this should be there. That's why you line it up. Now, look what's happened here. You've lined up kind of on this almond, but look, the bottom of the almond is off and there's a skewing problem. Oh boy, it should be there. So I had to hold the command key and grab this bottom one to skew it to where the top and the bottom of the almond shape and this and the stained glass. But now look, the alter's off a little bit. I wonder if I can pull this side back. Oh, that's pretty close. Let's move this a little. I'm having to kind of massage this into place. But I'm holding the command key the whole time. Woo, that's on the money right there. Now we got some issues, but at least now all the perspective problem is fixed, right? And let me go back to where we were before we fixed that. So see how it was kind of funky? That was even after we straightened it. So I think there is probably pretty good. Now you've got this gap over here. You can try to do this. Let's start off by doing content aware, fill, and see if that works. I'm going to select it and then go fill and choose content aware and see if that works okay. Sometimes it's great and then sometimes it's that. If it wasn't great, just use generative fill. And make sure you have your model set to Adobe and fill and expand, because you want to fill and then just hit generate. And also, when you use fill and expand, it doesn't charge you any credits at all. No credits, none, zippo. All right, let's wait. And let's see, we get a couple of different options. There's option A, that's pretty good. Option B is better. Option C is better. I'm going with option B. And then I'm going to click this little button to see if I need to up-res it. See how it's enhancing the detail? This little icon right here up-reses your thing to make sure it matches better the resolution, better matches the resolution of your image. All right, so we're in much better shape now. I think we're really close. Let's just now do the editing. Like, we fixed all the problems. Let's flatten this image here. And then let's go and just do the standard stuff, because it's pretty good now. You could even lower the highlights again to get a little bit of the stained glass back. Hit auto. And auto brightened it up, so I'm definitely going to lower the highlights again to get the that back. And to bring out the detail, let's go to texture and increase the texture. And it looks a little hazy in there. So let's just take out some of the haze. And I don't want to go too far. I'm getting a little carried away with the contrast here. So let's see. So there we go. And lastly, let's add a little tiny vignette, a -11 vignette right there, which is very subtle, but it's there. Look, there's before and there's after. Before and after. And I think you got a pretty decent shot there. There you go. Let me double click the grabber hand. All right, there's some comments about the up-res button. So what happens is, when you do generative fill, it doesn't do it, unfortunately, at the resolution of your image. Now, when generative fill came out years ago, Adobe said, we're going to up-res it at some point. And so they really haven't increased the resolution. But what they're doing is, if you go to the thumbnail and you see that little up arrow button, you click on that. If the area that you patched is small enough, it doesn't matter. It's enough resolution. If the area is larger, then you're going to need to up-res. But you don't have to worry. You can always click that button, because if it's already the right resolution, it comes up on screen and says this fix is already at the subject's resolution. You don't have to worry about it. In other words, you did such a small patch, it doesn't matter. If you make a big patch, you're going to need to run that enhanced detail to try to match the resolution better. And it does help. It does make a big difference. Anyway, that's our image here. So let's go check out another image. We're about out of time, but we can probably sneak one or two more in. Let's look at this one. We got ourselves a ship. What we have is actually a blue ship. Let's go to color and get some of that color right. So we don't want to, there we go. I think the Coast Guard ship should be white. I don't think it should be blue. Let's go ahead and hit auto. That's not bad, right? And then, you know, after I did auto, it still looks a little blue. So let's move it a little more. Get it back. I'm looking at the boat to try to make it white without making it too yellow. Might have to add a little magenta in there. That's pretty close. It looks a little crooked. Let's go to auto fix there. All right, that's a little better. So the boat is straight, but I don't know what's going on over here at the harbor. Let's see what else we got to do here. I think the hull should be brighter. Now this is just me, right? So I'm going to go to Objects. Let's select the hull. So the Object Select tool lets you just drag over. By the way, to be able to drag, you have to click this icon. Otherwise, it wants you to use a paintbrush. So I much prefer and find it much easier and quicker to use this rather than having to paint over the hull. Now I can make the hull brighter, and I can easily take out any blue. I can just move away from any blue. There we go. All right, that's looking better. And then let's see, on the ship, we could, in masking, select the ship, say select subject. And I could add a little clarity. Clarity is good on wood as well. I imagine that it's a wood ship, but it could be a metal hull. I don't know, but we're going to add a little clarity and texture and all that. And then lastly, you know what I was going to say. What am I going to say? You know what I'm going to say. Let's add a little vignette around the outside edges. And I think we're pretty decent. And quickly, you know, it's like a minute or so. Michael Buckman says, forgetting your Fix the White Balance shirt. That's it right here. I wore my shirt for you guys today. Fix your freaking white balance. Yeah, if your picture's blue, it's probably a cloudy day, right? Very cloudy. And all right, so let's quit out of that one. And let's see if I can get one more in here before we go. Let's see what we got. Oh, this one needs some work here. So this one, let's make sure that we reset this to its defaults here. Reset to default. All right. So this is the default setting. If it were me, here's what I would do. Number one, the other jet in the Blue Angels that's not in formation, I think I would crop it just out. I would just, and plus you don't need all these trees. I want to see the jets. I didn't come to see trees. So I'm thinking here is where we're at. Hold on. I'm thinking we're in here, maybe even tighter. Let me, well, doesn't matter now. All right. So, I guess we could go a little tighter. What's going on? I can't get to my camera raw for some reason. All right, well, hit auto and then go increase the shadows on the planes. Something like that. Add a little whites. I really want to see the planes. I want to see that they're Blue Angels, not just 6 planes flying in formation. I would definitely add the clarity. And clarity is going to darken it a little bit, so just be careful. And add a little texture. And then I would get the heck rid of those trees. Those trees are not why I came here. So I would select tree A. Tree B. I would go to generative fill and just hit generate. With any luck, it'll get rid of that junk, and it should add the pop in the smoke in the back there. Ha! Woohoo! Now we're talking. Now we're talking. It's a dope. All right. People are wondering if they can buy that shirt. You know, I've never put it for sale, but we could. So we have a KelbyOne store where we sell swag and some fun shirts, and all of the profits, 100% of their profits, go to the Springs of Hope Orphanage in Nakuru, Kenya. So I could add this. I have this graphic. It's on my laptop. So I could throw it up there. I have to ask somebody in our crew who manages our Zazzle account. There it is. And you can see some of the shirts here. And you'll also notice that I was the model for all the shirts. So we sell a regular KelbyOne swag. And then if you go down, there's photo walk shirts. And there's some fun shirts. And all that stuff. And there's the same mug that I sip out of most days. Anyway, those are on Zazzle. So maybe I can throw that one up there too. I guess I don't know who manages our account. It's somebody. But again, if you buy it, we don't get the money. 100% of the profits go to the Springs of Hope. Let's look back at our image here real quick. Also, the jets don't look like they're super sharp, and they are not. So let's do this. I don't want to sharpen the smoke, so let's go to pick a selection tool, go to cloud, and let's say select subject, and let's hope all it selects is the jets. I don't want the smoke. It got a few of the jets. Here's what we're going to do. Forget that idea. I have a better... Oh, no, I was on this other layer with getting rid of the trees. Let's try it again. Sorry. Let's go to... make sure we're set to cloud and hit select subject. This might work better now. I was on the wrong layer, so it was never going to work. That did pretty well, but it also got some of the smoke. So you could hold the Option key and just say no, not. The Option key will let you take away from that selection. So you could just make sure none of the. That's it. I got all the clouds deselected because I used the quick select tool. So now it's just the planes. So now you could run Sharpen AI. Let's run that. Give that a minute. It won't take a minute. Oh, Natalie's got a good one. She says we need to fix the horizon line T. She is so right. That's the next one. All right, so that should have done. Woo, that did really good. Holy cow. And then let's throw an unsharp mask on top of that. That might have been a little too much. Wow, that looks a lot better. All right, so that's where I would do that one. And guys, we're 11 minutes over, so we should do that. Mariana says, KelbyOne, you should have a branch in London. Mariana, I would love having a branch in London like you don't know. London is one of my favorite places on earth, and now I'd have more excuses to go there. I have many dear friends in London and in England all over. I cannot come up with enough excuses to go over there. I'd love to have a branch in London. Whoo! That would be a dream. All right. We've got prizes to give away. And also, by the way, thank you. I see a lot of nice comments coming in. Thank you all very much. It's very nice. I really do appreciate it. It's very kind. People aren't so kind on social media, but you guys are, so thank you very much. Thank you. All right, here goes our winners. Scott Smith, you're winning the Platypod accessory set. The iPhone photography book's going to Calvin Maddox. The night photography book's going to Connie Allen, and the On One No Noise is going to Harvestine Mobley. All right. So the Platypod elbow is going out to Scott Smith. There you go, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to everybody but Jason in our booth. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Look, it's finally there. Oh, my gosh. It's finally, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's finally there. Ladies and germs, it's finally there. There it is. September 14th through 17th. Now I know the dates. And it's huge. And it's 3 tracks plus a pre-conference day, which is included. And we're still putting all the classes and everything together, but it's going to be fantastic. It's our biggest event of the year. It's sponsored by our friends at Adobe. Love to have you there. So go join at photoshopworld.com. You can save $200 if you go now, and it's a deal as it is. So there you go. Thanks very much. We appreciate you all. Have a great day and a great weekend, and we'll see you next Thursday around 1-ish on the East Coast. Take care, everybody.